Right, hello everyone. Welcome to what is my Premier League predictions. I've been excited about this video for months now, and finally the Premier League is returning. I say finally, but it's only been about 2 or 3 weeks. But here we are. Everyone's doing their fantasy Premier League team. Everyone's getting excited for the new season, and yeah, I'm ready. I hope you are too. So in 20th position, I've gone for Fulham. That's merely because of my ignorance when it comes to watching the Championship football. I haven't got a clue about it. I'm not going to pretend that I have a clue about it. So Fulham are getting relegated as far as I'm concerned. All I know about Fulham is that Scott Parker's the manager and he's a Chelsea legend. Fulham fans won't like that. Yeah, if you look at the signings they've brought in, I think really the only one that strikes my eye is the signing of Areola from PSG. I think that he's a good keeper, and I think he'll do well for Fulham. To be honest, I can't see Fulham staying up. Next up in 19th, I have West Brom. For me, West Brom, they get relegated every day of the week, and it happens with most teams that come up. They automatically go back down. It happened to Norwich. They finished top of the Championship last season. They went down. I expect the same to happen to West Brom. They finished second in the Championship last season. They brought in a couple of decent players. They brought in Callum Robinson. Matías Pereira I've heard good things about from Sporting Lisbon. So he might be a decent signing, but I don't think it is enough to keep West Brom up. And that's why I'm probably wrong. So on 18th, I've gone for West Ham. This might seem controversial for some, because Moisey is doing a decent enough job at West Ham. I think he had a good end to last season. Mikel Antonio banging in the goals. I don't know. With West Ham, it's just a depth thing for me. I look at their squad. They don't have too much on the bench. They were almost relegated last season. I think they'll go down this season. In 17th, I've gone for Leeds. To be honest, Leeds are a big club. They're a massive club. Everyone's expecting them to be great and hit the ground running in the Premier League. I don't know. I think they need a season to adjust to their surroundings. They needed it last year to get promoted under Bielsa. They'll need it this year in the Premier League. And I think they'll just scrape past relegation. I don't know if they will be able to play that kind of football in this division, because we've seen the likes of Brighton, who don't really have the quality, the Premier League quality. They try and play football and they get picked off by the bigger teams. So with Leeds, I think the same thing will happen. I think they'll stay up though. And in 16th, I have Aston Villa. Now Aston Villa have signed a few decent players. They've signed Ollie Watkins, who was a good striker in the Championship. But I don't know, lads. I think Villa are flirting with relegation again. But I think Jack Grealish will keep them up. I think he's a fantastic player, fantastic talent. And I think JT will help their defence out. In 15th, I've gone for Brighton. They haven't brought in much. They brought in Adam Lallana, who's a decent player from Liverpool. But other than that, they've let go of Aaron Moy, Shane Duffy, who are good centre-backs. I think Ben White's a fantastic centre-back for Brighton. I think Brighton will do decent this season. I think they'll play a bit of football. They'll challenge the big teams. And in 14th, I've gone for Newcastle. I think Newcastle have had a great transfer window. They've brought in Jeff Hendrick, our boy, but they've also brought in Callum Robinson. They've brought in Callum Wilson, Fraser, Jamal Lewis. Great signings in my opinion. So I think Newcastle have done enough to stay up. In 13th, I've gone for Burnley. Now, I love Burnley. You have to admit, Sean Dyche's voice is just majestic. And the Burnley players just levitate towards Sean Dyche's voice, and they perform every season and somehow avoid relegation. So you have to admire how they do it. I'm not going to undermine Burnley this season. I think they deserve the respect, because everyone marks them down for relegation every season. Burnley are going to get relegated. Guess what? Sean Dyche says shush. They might even challenge for Europe. It really depends on which Burnley shows up every year. In 12th position, I have gone for Crystal Palace. I love Roy. I really do. I love Roy Hodgson. they need to give him a knighthood. He's done such a good job with Palace. Palace don't have a great squad. They have Wilfman, they have Wilfred Zaha, who does well for them every year. If they lose him, I admit that Palace are a bit shagged. He's their LeBron James. He carries them every season. They've also brought in this promising signing, Eze, from QPR, who looks really good. I think Crystal Palace always solid defensively, always compact, always gives the big teams a good game. Yeah, I think Palace will stay up this season. I have a good feeling about them. Moving on to Sheffield United. Sheffield United had a great season last season, no denying it. But I think this season they'll be a bit out of their depth. Not out of their depth, but you predict something and then it goes the complete opposite direction. And this could happen with Sheffield because they are so well managed. They're so well managed by Chris Wilder. They could prove me horribly wrong and finish way up in the European spots. They've brought in Aaron Ramsdale from Bournemouth, a good replacement for Dean Henderson when he went back to United. And they've also brought in Jayden Bogle, who I rate very highly. I remember watching when Frank Lampard was the manager at Derby. I remember watching Jayden Bogle in the Championship final. I thought he was fabulous. So Jayden Bogle will be good for Sheffield, no doubt. And they've also brought in Ethan Ampadu on loan, which I think is a great signing for Sheffield, because Ampadu, he's not getting a chance at Chelsea at the moment with the players we're bringing in. But I rate Ampadu highly. I think he can be a very successful player in the Premier League, if not for Chelsea. I hope it is for Chelsea, but time will tell. But I think Sheffield will do well this season. I don't think they'll do as well as last year. In 10th, I've gone for Southampton. I think Southampton will have a better season than last season. They finished... Where did they finish last season? Last year they had a fabulous run right at the end of the season. They were terrible until they got beaten 9-0 by Leicester. And then Hasenhüttl flicked the switch. It was like he was turning on the shower. And suddenly Southampton started playing good football again. I remember watching that game against United. And they were up their arses. They were all over them. And I really like that style of play. High intensity, high press. And I think they're good for the Premier League. And I think they will stay up. And they will do well next season. They'll finish 10th. And then we have the top 9. Very difficult to predict. In 9th, I've gone for Wolves. They've bought Fabio Silva from Porto. I think he's good. He's a wonder kid, apparently. He has a big head of hair on him. He's younger than me, believe it or not. But they've also let go of Matt Doherty, which I think is a mistake for Wolves. I think other teams have strengthened more than them. They won't struggle, but they won't do as well. They won't end up with a European place. In 8th place, I've gone for Leicester. They've brought in one fullback to replace Ben Chilwell, but other than that, they haven't really strengthened. And I think they have a good squad already, though. They've lost Chilwell. I don't think it's a big loss. I'm going to be honest. They've kept hold of Soyuncu and Vardy and the players that get goals for them. So I don't think they'll do too badly. I don't think they'll do as well as last season. In 7th, I've gone for Everton. Listen, I'm a big Carlo fan as well. I think Carlo plays lovely football when he gets the signings, of course. And he's got the signings this summer. He's got 3 great signings. He's got Allen from Napoli. He's got Doucouré from Watford, who I rate a lot. And he's got superstar James Rodriguez. Well, he was once upon a time a superstar in Colombia. Since he sort of fizzled, his career sort of fizzled out. But I've done some research here, and James Rodriguez, he's still only 29. When I read that, it's like, ooh, only 29, but he still has a good few years left in him. Everton have got hold of him. This signing can go either brilliantly or horribly, because obviously it's a player at the tail end of his career. He's not in great form. But I think it will go great for them. I honestly rate James Rodriguez. And if he can get a bit of confidence from Carlo, it'd be a great signing. In 6th place, it was very tough, but I've gone for Spurs. I'm a huge Mourinho fan. Huge. But even putting Spurs 6th was flattering in my opinion. Also, Everton could outdo Spurs this season. I think Spurs could potentially finish 8th. But I'm going to give Mourinho the benefit of the doubt. When Mourinho comes to your club, your second season is the best chance at winning a trophy. And they've also gained Matt Doherty, who I think is a great signing for Spurs, especially for 13 million. And I'm going to give a shout out to Bowes as well, because Bowes got 1.2 million of that 13, and that's brilliant. In 5th, I've gone for Arsenal. I like Mikel Arteta. Ever since Mikel Arteta has came in, Arsenal have looked like a completely different team. They just look revitalised. They're even beating the bigger clubs. Under Arteta, they've definitely improved, let's be honest. They've got more organised. If I was being biased right now, I'd be, ooh, I fucking hate Arteta. That's a biased opinion as well, because I like Arteta as a person. And I think Arsenal will finish 5th this season. I'm going Man United in 4th. I think they've recruited a very good signing in Donny van de Beek. I think they have a good young squad. It's just question marks again over the defence. Whether they can bring in Sancho or not is the question. Then I might change my opinion. That brings me to 3rd. I think we will finish 3rd. Chelsea will finish 3rd. And I think that's the general consensus amongst football fans. I was so tempted to have us finish top of the league. But I wanted to try and stay neutral in this video. And I think we'll do well. We'll do very well this season. We'll close the gap. I think we'll finish around the 80-point mark. I think United will be just below us. And I think we'll close the gap on City and Liverpool. And I think that's the most important thing this season. We've brought in Havertz, we've brought in Werner, we've brought in Chilwell, we've brought in Thiago Silva, we've brought in Mendy, we've brought in... I'm forgetting someone, am I? Ziyech. I forgot Ziyech. Yeah, we've brought in some brilliant players this summer window. I'm very excited for this season. Yeah, I think this season's all about closing the gap on City and Liverpool. The big question mark this season has to be the back line. And it was last season because we leaked so many goals. The most in the top 4. The most in the top 6, I think. But with the investment we've made, there's a chance. There's always a chance. It's just whether the players can step up. So in 2nd, I've gone for City. It's pretty obvious why. They've brought in Ake, they've brought in Torres. But to be honest, if I'm honest, people have found City out. They found them out last season. You park the bus, you sit back, you play the low block, you counter. And it's whether Pep can find the plan B that he needs to approach those games where teams are playing a low block and countering against them. So that leads me on to Liverpool now. I'd love to say Liverpool aren't going to win again, but I think they will. I think they'll retain the title, and that would be a huge achievement for Liverpool because they haven't won it. They hadn't won it in 30 years. So imagine winning it twice in 2 years. It would be mad, but I think they'll do it. Listen, it's not about the players for Liverpool, it's about the team. And even though I dislike Klopp's comments, I'm speaking from a non-biased perspective here. Liverpool's work ethic, how they work as a team, how they use the press as a weapon, it's unmatched at the moment. I still think there's a long way to go for the teams behind, especially Chelsea and United. And that's why I think Liverpool will get the title this season. I need to breathe. It's hard talking for that long. It really is. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. This Sunday, the preview's going up, and then Monday we have the review for the Brighton game. So a lot to look forward to on this channel. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. If you want to see those videos coming up, subscribe. And I will talk to you in the next video. Peace.